Okay, it's 2:31 right now, Malaysia time. Everybody comfortable in wherever they are. All right. Hi, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning to everyone, from wherever they are. I guess we have a mix of attendees coming from various countries in this part of the world in APAC. Thanks for taking the time. We appreciate you joining us in this afternoon here in Malaysia time. My name is To. I am the head of sales for Entity Data Malaysia. So I'll be hosting the event today together with my colleague Jonas. We will present MAKIRA and how it can help you in the sense of cost efficiency on how you can optimize your resource usage, your workload management, and reduce operational overhead. Okay, next slide. Yep. So as mentioned before, I'll be hosting, and Jonas is the speaker for the rest of the session. And just to give you a brief introduction, in case you're wondering, you have seen many people in the course from various parts of the world. That is in reflection to Entity Data Business Solution presence. We are a SAP Global Platinum Partner, and we have presence in close to 27 countries, ranging from Americas, Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Europe. So wherever you are and whatever requirements in related to your SAP technology, we as in Entity Data Business Solution is able to help by bringing the best of breed and the relevant resources all across the globe to ensure that we address your business requirements. All right. As next, in the interest of time, I will hand over the call to Jonas. Jonas will take you through on what our capabilities and how we can help you to address some of your business related issues that you have today in regards to MAKIRA. Jonas, over to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll be the one taking you through this agenda today. We'll talk about document automation in SAP, start a bit general, then we'll dig a bit deeper and look into AI capabilities and workflows. We'll look at some real life examples from some of our customers. And then finally, we will wrap up and you just shoot away with all your questions, and I'll do my best in order to answer. Good. Let's get started with document automation in SAP.
Every day, businesses handle a constant flow of documents, from orders to invoices, AP to HR, all essential to keeping operations running smoothly. Yet these tasks often drain time and resources, slowing down progress and creating inefficiencies.
Now, imagine that document management stopped being a bottleneck and started driving growth and value creation instead.
Sounds appealing? Well, meet MAKIRA, the AI-powered document management solution designed to automate, accelerate, and advance your workflows, significantly reducing manual handling of repetitive tasks. MAKIRA streamlines workflows across departments and borders, leveraging smart automation from document creation, approvement, and archiving for any document and ERP system. So, isn't it about time to eliminate input errors and create a scalable foundation for future growth?
About time to say bye repetition and hello getting stuff done.
Yeah, and that's what we'll look into. How to get stuff done a lot more efficiently with the use of MAKIRA and with the use of end-to-end automation of business document processes. In order to compare what we are talking about, where we're coming from, and where it's possible to go to with MAKIRA, we can take a look at this. If we start from the top, we have tried to draw how a manual process typically looks like, very simplified. You receive an email with an attachment. If you do so, then very often we see if it's a manual process, you would print the document because you would need to get it approved. And the most easy way to get such a document approved, if you don't have a system to support it, is by printing it so people can maybe stamp with the date and time for when they physically signed the piece of paper. That document is passing around the organization. It might be the manager's manager that also needs to sign the document because of some approval limits. And at the end, when everyone that needs to sign the document have signed that, it would then go typically to AP that would scan the document to digitalize it so it can be archived and connected to the invoice that will be created in the ERP system. And that invoice being created, that being the business document being created in SAP. SAP as an example. Then typically you will actually both archive the digital copy of the document and maybe also have the physical copy lying in some in some filing cabinet somewhere. Whereas if you have an automated process, you have an incoming document, could come by email, could come as an electronic invoice or another electronic document. Also, we support non-invoices. We would monitor the input channels. Typically, we would check every 30 seconds if something has arrived. And then MAKIRA will process everything automatically. It might be that something needs to be approved manually. It is not, if it's invoices, it's not all invoices that should be approved automatically. So it might be that some would need to go to some manual validation or approval. But MAKIRA will handle which ones. So it's only those that actually need that manual process time that will be forwarded to the proper persons. All the others would be automatically processed. Yeah, so that significantly reduces the time spent on processing invoices as an example. I mentioned that we do more than just invoices, so that's also why we have described here that we do everything from accounts payable to accounts receivable, from HR to CX, or from A to C, because we actually do a lot of different document types. I think the last time I counted, we were up to 14 different document types that we support. However, we have a primary focus on invoices, incoming purchase orders that we can convert to sales orders documents in SAP, and also order confirmations. And we support more than 100 countries with MAKIRA solutions. As mentioned, last time I counted, it was 14 different document types. And we reduced the load of manual work, typically somewhere between 65 and 90%. So it's a significant reduction in the manual effort. Now let's dig a bit deeper into what MAKIRA has to offer. You can think of MAKIRA as a suite of solutions. So if we start from the very top, you'll then see 3 solutions highlighted, the ones that I just mentioned, that supports end-to-end automation of the 3 business processes that those documents connects to. So that's the incoming invoice process, it's incoming purchase orders that we want to convert to sales orders, or it's order confirmations. And then the non-highlighted document types, business processes, are the ones where a customer typically had started out with one of those 3 that I just mentioned. And then there was another department within their company that saw this as a huge inspiration to how they could also automate some of their processes with another document type. And that has been remittance advices or HR documents or certificates or a certificate of analysis documents, water certificates, steel certificates, a lot of different document types where we have helped organizations with also automating those processes. Our main focus is invoices, purchase orders, and order confirmations. And today I'll primarily focus on AP, accounts payable, and invoices. And if we do focus on invoices, then the way that we see it is that a document will need to pass through a set of phases. You can also call them process steps. And those are the ones that we have described here in the middle. So an invoice, well, we'll need to receive that somehow. If it was manual, that was the open your email inbox, print, and then begin passing it around. If it's with MAKIRA, we have a tool called MAKIRA Capture. It's a full service offering where we have a tool that monitors X number of email accounts for incoming PDF documents, incoming PDF invoices, and then that service will automatically process those attachments, find all relevant information. If the software, for some reason, the AI cannot find the relevant information, we have our own human in the loop, also sometimes referred to as HITL, that will check and optimize the solution and the AI in order to better find the relevant information later on. But also they will ensure that whatever couldn't be found is then found and entered correctly and forwarded correctly to the next step, which is create. That was incoming PDF invoices by email, but then there are also electronic documents. Yeah, of course, PDF is also an electronic document, but e-invoices, that's an XML file type. It's a standardized, completely standardized XML where it says, it has kind of, those of you that knows XML, it has kind of tags that says, okay, this is the invoice number, this is the invoice date, etc. So they all look the same, at least in the way that they are built and that they are structured. So those actually quite a lot more simple to process. And we have MAKIRA e-invoice that can also support processing those and ensure that they can also be forwarded correctly all the way from the supplier passing them into whatever network that they're using. Could be the Pebble network that is actually used also globally these days. And then to receiving that as the company that needs to receive and at the end pay the invoice, and ensure that that is again carried forward to the create step of MAKIRA. And that create step is the one that I often refer to as the most important one, because that is where most of the magic actually happens. That is where MAKIRA Automate comes into play. We have what we call integration. That is what ensures that all that data that is coming from the outside, either using Capture or MAKIRA e-invoice, so it could be third-party tools as well, is handled and used in the same structured way. And the reason that that's so important is because in that way we can control that whatever rules that are relevant for a company when it comes to getting documents created and processed, that we comply with those. And that is really important, because if we can do that in a great way, that actually means that all the follow-on processes can be as smoothly and hopefully as automated as possible. So think of that integration as kind of a funnel that all documents passes in through, and then we do different kind of things also depending on what a company's rule set might be, in order to, it could be do the invoice coding automatically based on a rule set. Could be that whenever you receive an invoice from a certain supplier for this company code, then it should always be this specific account that should be used for the non-PO invoice. That's a manual rule, which sometimes can be the best, but also it can be a bit time demanding to set up all those manual rules. So that is why we have created one out of those 2 AI agents that we have marked down here. And that is the one that we call Enrich. Enrich AI does account assignment. Works the way that it kind of automatically plugs into your SAP environment and then tries to figure out how the account assignment was done in the past. I'll get a bit deeper into that one in just a bit, so let me not spoil all of it. And the Match AI, that is the one that handles the PO invoices. We, again, rules for matching incoming invoices that refers to a PO with the purchase order that was already created in the ERP system. Sometimes rules can actually be the best, but there are also other examples where rules are definitely not preferred and where you need something a little more intelligent in order to ensure that matching is a lot more successful compared to what you can do with rules. MAKIRA Automate ensures that we can create the documents in a way that actually most of the documents would just pass through the approval step without anyone seeing it. Because if all the matching is done perfectly, and then why is it actually, and if the goods are received and there are no price variance compared to what was agreed with the supplier, then nobody does really need to do a manual approval. At least that's our recommendation. Of course, it is also possible to set a rule that everything needs to go to manual approval, but yeah, that's up to our customers to decide. But MAKIRA Approve is kind of the tool that supports the whole approval process. And at the end, the document is archived, and then in order to see how well all the processes are running, then we have MAKIRA reports that can provide some analytics and an overview of that. How many documents do we receive? How fast are they processed, etc. And the sprinkle on top is MAKIRA Body AI, which is those of you that are technical within AI would maybe know what a RAG model is. You can kind of translate that into it. It's actually a really intelligent chatbot. It's not one of those frustrating ones that doesn't know anything, but this one is actually trained on all the documentation, tickets, mails, Q&A documents that we have in order to actually both become a body within our own team, because we cannot always remember in what part of the documentation that some specific detail was mentioned, but also a body to a whole sales team, and soon, is within the next 2 months. It will also be released to our customers, so it will be a body to them that can help them with some of the more simple questions where they would normally need to wait for one of our supporters to come back to them, so they can get an immediate reply from that one in maybe 25% in the beginning, and maybe a bit later 50% of the cases where they have questions. Yeah, let me dig a bit deeper into MAKIRA Receive, and also the integration part, the MAKIRA Automate. This is an overview of what happens in the receive step. As I mentioned, we could have I didn't even mention that because sometimes I forget. But e-invoices coming in as PDFs, or actual e-invoices that are XML. But of course, it could also be paper-based documents. For paper-based documents, we have an app that you can download on your phone. So just snap a photo with them or scan them automatically with that one. Of course, you could also use your MFP, your printer device, and scan them using the built-in scanner. Anyway, coming in by email, MAKIRA Capture, used in order to find relevant information on those documents. And MAKIRA e-invoice are used in order to capture relevant information on those. MAKIRA AI is used in order to enrich them with relevant information, and the integration component, which is actually loaded on the SAP side of things, is the funnel that everything goes into and creates a parked invoice that are either approved fully automated or sent out to the proper person that needs to perform an approval action in order to get the document approved. Capture, we typically see automation between 60 and actually these days, also with the help of AI in our capture service, more often up to around 90%. From when we receive a PDF by email, it typically would take 1 to 3 minutes until it's then created on the SAP side, created as an invoice. That's a fully automated document. And then, as I mentioned, we have this kind of safety net, HITL, human in the loop, that ensures that if something could not be automated, well, then they will look into why and try to tweak the AI and the software in order to ensure that in the future it will be handled automatically. For that exception that occurred, they will then fill in the missing details in order to get it processed quickly. And maybe most importantly, without our customers, the receiving end of the invoice, having to do anything in order to get the document created. Then there was Enrich AI, as a part of MAKIRA Create. That is what does account assignment. It automatically fills in the account, the cost center, the requested, the VAT code, or it could even check for missing POs. We just released a new version of that one where we managed to improve even further. So I know it says plus 90, but that was actually well above 90. We saw 94.22% success rate. And that's not just for finding one of these parameters. That was for finding all parameters for that customer automatically. So that meant that it was only, a little shy of 6% of those non-PO invoices where they actually needed to do account assignment manually. Or if we turn it upside down, it was 94.22% of the cases where it was suddenly done automatically and was able to free up a lot of time for their team. Then there was the Match AI. Non-PO invoices, it varies, of course, depending on a company, how big a percentage is non-PO and how big a percentage is PO. The important thing is that we both have an AI for the non-PO and also the PO invoices. But for the PO, all these details, the account, cost center, etc., have already been filled out. They were filled out into the PO that we are now going to match. But if we cannot use like simple rules to match, sometimes you could use the line number, because the line number logic on the incoming invoice follows the line logic, like the order on the PO. Or you could use material numbers. They're also quite easy to match with. But what if none of those can actually be used? Then typically the fallback is that you need to rely on the description. And the description can vary quite a lot from what the supplier puts in the description of a material and what you have described in your material master in your ERP system in SAP. So there again, we need something a little more intelligent in order to do matching for that purpose, which is why we are using what we call Match AI, MAKIRA AI matching, in order to better understand what this description of the line item, what that means, and then match that with whatever description that we have within our order that invoice referred to. So also sometimes referred to it as similarity search. We see that it was not that it was bad before, the matching based on rules, but we saw actually with some customers, especially the ones that maybe had not master data that contains as many materials as some of the other customers, we saw big improvement for those, up to a doubling the matching success. The body AI, as mentioned, it's a body that's just a click away. Customers can use it whenever they need some support. It might be that they are a new or younger customer to us and not that experienced within all the possibilities that MAKIRA brings. well, then it's easy just to lean on the body and ask the question there. Also it could be the more experienced customer, because also it can actually, with all the knowledge that it have, also answer those maybe more complex and more advanced questions coming in. Yeah, just to maybe give you a summary, an overview of what I just told you about. We have MAKIRA Receive, contains various components. That was Capture e-invoice, Integration Cloud, MAKIRA Create, Enrich AI, and the AI agents, MAKIRA Approve, the workflow for ensuring that the documents can be handled there, and the archive. For those customers that don't have their own archive, we can also offer one. And then the reports, where we can get a nice overview of what is happening when. Maybe just highlighting a quote from one of our customers, Nilfisk. Simply crazy, if you look at the bottom here, simply crazy about this robot solution. For them, we're digitalizing their order process, reducing the number of key errors, and in the end, we're releasing resources that they can use in order to optimize their customer service instead. And that story is pretty much the same for also our customer Bang & Olufsen, and this is another example of Logster. In this case, it was 20 buyers that are saving an hour per day. So 20 hours per day were saved with MAKIRA. Wrap up, and also a little time for question. If you can just take away that MAKIRA can reduce up to around 90% of the manual work related to business process handling. That is what we automate. Those processes that ties to business documents. That we automate the full end-to-end. We achieve straight-through processing in SAP with invoices, and they can be processed within minutes. That we use AI in order to automate enriching the documents that are being created, and that example that I used was non-PO invoice, but also that we use Match AI in order to ensure that we can automate as much, also with invoices referring to POs. At the end, we automate over 90% of the account assignments for non-PO invoices and MAKIRA Enrich AI, and then we suddenly have departments that can focus a lot more on what they do. But also remember that MAKIRA does a lot more than just invoices. A little time for questions, so fire away if you have any.
I see, Jonas, there's a question from Elizabeth asking about how secure the system is, preventing data leaks, how the system interface with external parties if they don't use MAKIRA, and also regarding MAKIRA Automate with AI agents. Curious to hear if AI agents could perform automate verification, suppliers invoice against contract terms, unit price, etc.
Okay, I'll do my best to complete all that within 1 minute. Our compliance department ensures that and also a lot of tests that we go throughout the year ensures that we are very secure. We have, of course, a certification that also proves that it's not just me saying that, but certification that you can also use in order to trust that MAKIRA is indeed secure and no data leaks will happen. And then the other one was how we could use AI in other ways. I think I'll just answer that in general. There's so many things happening within AI right now. If I had performed this presentation just 5 months back, I would not have been telling you about Match AI, because that is something that we have been able to create within a time span of 3 months. It's being used at the first 3 customers in UK, but we are testing it out to see how valuable it is before we will release it to the broader crowd using MAKIRA. But yeah, it's definitely a very, very good idea to also use it for the validation against contracts, indeed. So maybe that's also something we should look into. I see our time is up. Thank you so much for attending. You have a very good day.